Alright guys, we're here with High Octane Custom Baits, and I know this is one of like the high upcoming companies, local companies here. So we're gonna talk about a couple topics here, but primarily it's gonna be West Side. So, alright guys, I know we have the whole team here, or mainly the whole team, right? Yep. So I'm gonna hand it over to Eddie to introduce all the teammates and whatnot.
Hey guys, we're here at the Anglers Snakehead kickoff event today. Here we got Steve, he's the owner, operator, started the company that brought us all on. So I'm Eddie, Nick, Lauren, Mark, and Billy. So we've got the full team here. Cha-cha. So just a little bit first about High Octane. Just built super durable for Snakehead. All weedless, super tough construction. And we can do custom colors and just some fantastic stuff for snakes. So.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get into water temperature on the west side. So compared to the east side, the west side definitely takes some time to heat up. It'll be a few weeks, maybe a week to 2 to 3 to heat up to where you're looking for some snakehead action. And that water temperature is around 60 to 65 degrees. 60, they'll start waking up a little bit. A few fish will be willing to bite. 65 is when they start to kind of kick off into pre-spawn mode, and like you'll have the possibility of having good days out there. And the reason why the west side takes a little longer is because it's a lot of clear water, deeper water, and it has that sandy bottom. Whereas compared to the east side, it's a lot of darker, more shallow water, less tide, or less current, I should say. And yeah, so it should be here really soon, the west side. I've already seen a few caught, and it'll be kicking off, and we'll be having some fun soon on the west side.
All right, so one quick thing for everybody that's new to this, before I guess we continue. One of you who wants to answer this. What is considered, I guess, the west side? Like, let's talk a little bit about that.
It's hard.
I know there's some people out there that are probably sitting there going, like, what are they talking about the west side and east side? So they did give us a little bit of that.
If you draw an imaginary line, like Chesapeake City, pretty much like, straight up the bay, all the way down. To the left is your west side, to the east is the east side. That's really
right.
The only way I could really explain.
And what's the big question all the time? What's better?
Well, we're going to find that out in our next tournament. East side, west side tournament coming up. We're going to find
Yeah, that's always been the big question there. What size has the biggest snakehead there? I know, like you said, the west side is totally different than the east side for sure. I personally think they're prettier on this side, honestly.
clear water.
But then let's go to point number 2, and that's early spring cover and fish patterns and position and whatnot. So let's get over there.
So yeah, a few things I wanted to talk about with early spring, especially because there's tournament this time of year, early spring. The big thing you want to look for is the higher tides and your wood and the banks and stuff like that in these creeks and these tributaries on the west side and stuff like that. Holds a lot of heat and all that kind of stuff. So they're drawn to the banks and the wood and all that kind of stuff in early spring. So that's the main cover of birds. You might be able to find riprap and rocks and all that kind of stuff. Generally, from my experience, they're on the wood rather than the rocks and riprap and stuff. But one thing I want to talk about with fish positioning, early spring when they're on the cover and not just on these grass flats and all that kind of stuff. When you have a laydown from a bank, going out to the water, you want to pay attention to the tides and, figure out, if it's low tide or the tide's pulling out. 9 times out of 10, if you have a laydown, that fish is going to be looking upriver according to the tide because, the bait is pulling out of these creeks, they're coming out of the shallow water, they're pulling through the creek channels, pulling out of the creeks and stuff like that, so they're going to be looking up. Same thing when it comes to, your high tide coming in. A lot of that bait that will move out, the bigger bait, the bigger shad, the bigger mud shad, and all that kind of stuff. they will actually they'll go out the main river and then come back into the creek, come back into the shallows and all that kind of stuff. But the big thing you want to focus on when it comes to that structure and your flip, like out pitch, the little finesse chatter. You don't have to be like a bass fisherman and pitch a jig around, all this wood. Well, that may work. I prefer the finesse chatter. Don't always pitch in the heart of the laydown. You don't want to pitch right into the laydown and all that kind of stuff. You can stay, 5 foot out from the laydown or whatever. If that fish is aggressive enough, it'll come out and eat, and you won't blow that laydown up. So if there's more than one fish in that laydown, if you get them to come out from that laydown and catch that fish, you can catch that one and come back to that laydown. If there's another fish, the chances of that fish staying there in that area is a lot higher. Than just catching a fish in that laydown, stirring up all that mud and spewing off.
That's why we put flash and vibration in yours.
Absolutely, no doubt. It makes a huge difference. But that pretty much wraps up structure, disposition.
All right, so some great tips there for all you West Side guys out there. If you're on this side, and obviously the fuel prices don't want to go all the way down there, but to the east side. But other than that, great topic there, and great pointers. Like you said, all those pointers. I know we're talking about snakehead, but they are so useful for other species too. I mean, that's like fishing 101, right? Yep. So great tips for all you guys who's getting into it, and also if you didn't know, great tip there. Now let's jump up to this third one, and that's forage and color. Two big ones from things for everybody out there. You got so many colors, you're trying to figure out what to grow. I mean, I know most of us don't want to go with 20,000 boards out there. So let's talk about that.
So for forage on the west side, you have a lot of panfish, and then especially in the backs of creeks, you'll have a lot of crawfish. So those are two baits that I'm kind of looking at, and I'll have each one tied on. And between the two, I would have something like this, which is a finesse chatter that is more of like a shad or a white perch color, kind of like that white natural color. And then also the finesse chatter that Nick just had, where it has more of that crawfish color and obviously the crawfish trailer. You're looking for color-wise to match in the hatch. Like I said, like that white, that ghost shad to match it. And for the crawfish, you're looking for more of, especially this time of the year, like orange, like fire red. You're gonna want to throw those because a lot of the crawfish coming out of the mud now have fat and protein stored in their body, which makes them appear orange. And a lot of the ones that are not eating as much or hadn't had as much stored in their body come out more of a green pumpkin. So orange and green pumpkin seem to be like the go-to for matching hatch with crawfish.
Now let me ask you guys this question here. Some of you guys may be kind of asking this back home. What do you guys do in situations when you have like just super murky water? Based on the color or what to throw out there. I know some guys like to throw certain colors when the water's just like milk, like chocolate milk out there. What's your take on that?
Without a doubt, chatter-based. I mean, definitely without a doubt, if it's really murky water, I would go with the gold blade, like hands down, and I would try to have something with as much vibration as possible. You know what I mean? Like so that the fish can actually kind of track down what it is that they're going after. You know what I mean? So if you're using, I mean, I hate to keep going back to this one, but I mean, it's just works. Yeah, I mean, like the gold blade right here, and then the chatterbait together. I mean, that's just going to be your key. You know what I mean? Because then the fish can kind of home in on what it is that what I mean, that they're hearing.
Right.
So yeah, even the inline spinner. You know what I mean? Right here with the gold blade. This as well, the mini trident, the weedless one. And yeah, I mean,
Don't doubt that spinner bait.
yeah,
Don't doubt that spinner bait.
Yeah, I mean,
That west side spinner bait.
yeah, I think we'll end up going through the whole
start
line
getting
of
moving.
high octane here.
Once
But
they get
yeah,
moving, that spinner bait too.
same thing. This has 2 blades on it. I mean, yeah, but the gold is going to be the key, I think. So.
All right, yeah, definitely want to keep that gold blade in there, and then we have a couple options, especially for you guys. You guys have those little silver blades, and one of the products I've seen, and I'm really interested in, honestly, is those torpedo spins.
Yeah.
So I guess you can add, I know that you guys seen out there putting on everything out there. So tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so I love the torpedo spin for pickerel, but I'm really excited to use these for snakes. Mark, actually in February, caught his snakehead on a torpedo spin, and Billy. So I'm really excited to use this with a weighted jig head, but also with just weightless, just like this, kind of like a fluke. So when this is just sinking in the bottom, this is just working like crazy. It comes in a few different colors, and it's just a great attention getter for the snakehead, pickerel, anything like that.
Show them the idea we can do with the crawfish.
Yeah, we're playing around with some ideas where you can put two on there, act like a crawfish, just something a little different. With snakes, they see a lot of the same lures and just throw something different out there for them sometimes.
All right, that's cool. That's great ideas there. I mean, definitely a cool product there to check out. I know there's some other companies out there, but that shape on the blade is pretty cool. I mean, definitely the first one I've seen like that. So let's go into topic number 4, and that's creek channels.
So yeah, I want to talk about your creek channels on your west side tributaries. I've found that in the summer, the dog days of summer, even like the springtime, you can do it in the springtime and all that kind of stuff. Your creek channels hold a lot of good fish. You got to remember, a lot of these tributaries are clean water. There's a lot of good grass, a lot of good hydrilla, milfoil, eelgrass. So you're getting a lot of clean water. So these bigger, these smaller fish are going to be in these creek channels. For number one, a lot of your bait, your panfish, they're not swimming through these grass flats. The way I think of the creek channel, it's like an easy pass. They move up and down the creeks through this stuff. So a lot of your bigger fish are on that flat edge, those weed lines on those channels, and also, on the creeks when they turn, a lot of times the sediment will build up when the creek turns, whether it's from the left or the right, depending on how it turns. You'll get a point off which either side, depending on how the creek is set up. So if the creek's 3 foot, a lot of the times there's a bigger fish, and 2 foot off of that point, and you can target that even through a frog. A lot of people think you can throw a frog in 1 foot, a grass flat and all that kind of stuff. You fish those channels, you fish those weed edges and those points and all that stuff. With a frog, you can catch a lot of fish off of those points. But that pretty much sums up.
Now, touching bases on those creek channels, like you said, I don't know if you guys seen this and whatnot, but one thing I also tell people is, especially like you said, you brought up the point of points, you can catch multiple fish on those points.
Yeah,
always. I mean, most people have the mindset of, there's going to be one snake in here, there. They're never going to be screwed up or in pairs or anything like that. That's a big misconception.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter if you're fishing the east side or west side.
And the channel swings too. You got to remember, like one span. Channel swings are huge. I'm willing to say a name. It's known there. It's on the Bush River. Gray's Run. At the mouth of Gray's Run. Just throwing out numbers there. Let's say it's 100 foot wide. Well, as it comes up the creek, you start getting into 50 foot wide. Just saying numbers. So as you start to thin out. Get to the same width you're supposed to be at, let's say 50 foot the rest of the way up. Wherever that starts to thin out right through there, a lot of times that creates a point for one, a sediment build up there. And that area, even if it's, it can be 4 foot, 4 or 5 foot, these fish are transitioning, they're adapting to this tidal water and all that kind of stuff. They'll be there. You can throw your finesse shatters. You can also go real tight to cover on these banks, frog, even in 4 foot. They'll still be up in inches.
There's still a frog too. How about you show us that?
Absolutely, yeah. This is our frogzilla. Steve, put a lot of time in with this frog and all that stuff. This is one of my favorite frogs by far. It's got great collapsibility and all that stuff. Fantastic. One thing I love about it is the weight. The weight, you can cast it. A a lot of the frogs in the market, they're real lightweight. They struggle with these frogs in the wind. So if this one, it's windy out or whatever, you'll be able to cast it as far and as accurate as you want because of the weight of this frog. And also, the design came up with the weight on the bottom, the very low half of the frog. It sits up on a 45, which gives it a lot of water. Actually, it throws a lot of water, but it also sits in the water column like this. So on the snakehead,
It's perfect.
we know how their backs will come up and splash on it and all that kind of stuff. But a snakehead, they suck it in. That's where that pop noise is. So when they grab that at that 45,
Sweet noise.
yeah,
We all dream about it, right?
It's that pop. It's, you hear it in the dreams. The way it sits is perfect with how they're now, how hard they are, and getting hooks in. That's one huge thing I guess that stands out compared to the others.
And great products, great. I mean, like you said, you designed all of these specifically for Snakehead. So we do carry, their items in the store, and we're probably going to be, adding more to it. But other than that, I know you guys fish everywhere, pretty much throughout the state and other places and whatnot for Snakehead. So, great company, like this. By Snakehead English, for Snakehead English out there. So, I know we covered a lot of things here on the west side. Anything else you guys want to add about, the fishing here on the west side? Any other topics, anything else?
Yeah, South Basic Ranch. You have early spring South Basic Ranch.
Yeah. One thing I missed relating to water temperature and places to really dial in to find those snakes, especially early in the year. You're going to want to look for those south-facing banks because through this transition period, you have a lot of south wind just blowing that wind up, which is all that warm water blowing up, pushing bait up, and you also have the sun coming up and it is hitting that bank all day. So you're looking for the warmest water possible, especially this time of the year, hit that 60, 65 mark, and that's what will get hit fastest.
Also, fish slow.
Yeah.
Slow right now is good.
Yes. I mean, one of the things too, I don't know if you guys agree with, but a lot of times with northern snakeheads, we don't fish super fast. Most of it is like his mid speeds, some slower speeds, and that's where all you guys are getting into it, where we're not burning base out here. We're kind of working on mid speeds or slow speeds and whatnot. But other than that, like you said, this time of year, anywhere you go, it's a great thing to have your fish finder here in the kayak, a little thermostat you can throw in the water and whatnot, because you want to know this water temperatures. That's a key. It's almost kind of like comparing to offshore fishing where you're trying to find this water, like, the water temperature breaks and whatnot. But like you said, there's areas where I've gone and it's 62 degrees here. I go into a cove and it's 65 and it bites red hot fire in that creek. You go out into the main river and there's nothing there.
Right.
So remember that. That's going to be one of those big keys, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's a big thing for anybody out there. They'll really determine, I guess, where you're going to catch them, where you're not going to catch them, especially for this early spring. And I mean, other than that, any other things you guys want to talk about? All right. Well, thank you guys for being here today. I know, we have all your stuff and whatnot. Come by here, check it out if you want. You guys are on Facebook, Instagram, and all that. So, any questions on your products, just come by and check them out, or hit them up on your social media. All right. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you guys.